Namaste. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the genre of the bhajan, a type of hymn that's associated with bhakti religiosity. Bhakti is a form of religion that swept northern India in the late medieval and the early modern period, from about the 1400s to the present day. Now, what is a bhajan? To get at what a bhajan is, we have to actually start with the idea of bhakti. Now, bhakti is usually translated in English as devotion, which is not incorrect. However, it comes from the Sanskrit verbal root bhanj, which means to break, but also to share. And as Christian Novetsky and others have pointed out, bhakti really comes from the idea of sharing in devotion to God. Bhajan also comes from that root, and bhajan can be translated roughly as to praise or to sing the praises of. And so a bhajan, even in its very derivation as a word, suggests the idea of praising God and talking about God. This singing usually takes place in an antiphonal manner, which means that often a leader will lead others in singing. First, that lead singer will sing a line or sing a verse, and then others who are gathered will sing that line after her or after him. And this takes us to the idea of satsang. Now, bhajans are deeply connected to the idea of satsang, which comes from a combination of two words, sat, true, truth, honesty, what is real and what is true, and sang, togetherness, company. So satsang is the idea of spending time in the company of true people, of good people, of honest people. And this is one of the central pillars of the idea of bhakti in the late medieval and early modern period in India, is the idea that the company that one keeps has a very deep effect on one's psyche, soul, and inner being. And so bhajans were made to be sung in the context of satsang. Most histories of Hindi literature identify two streams or dharas of bhakti poetry in the pre-modern period. The first of these two streams is called nirguna. It consists of two parts, nir, meaning not or not having, and gun. Gun is a quality, an attribute that you can assign to something like a color or a size or a length or a shape that you can attribute to some object, to some thing that you perceive. Now, nirgun poets and nirgun poetry imagines God, or the Paramatma, the highest soul or being, as something that is nirgun, without attributes, without qualities, cannot be described, which is beyond all description. In contrast, the second stream of bhakti literature is called sagun, consisting of sa and gun. Sa meaning with, and gun meaning attributes. Sagun poets in poetry imagine God as something or someone that can be perceived. For example, many Sagun poets sing praises to Krishna or Ram, two very popular Vaishnav deities. Based on the distinction between Nirgun and Sagun, we can roughly group the poets of bhakti literature into two groups. Nirgun poets include Kabir, Ravidas, Dadu Dayal, and Guru Nanak, and the Sagun poets include Surdas, Mirabai, and Tulsidas. Now we're going to learn more about the bhajan by studying a pad composed by the saint known as Kabir, who most likely lived between the 15th and the 16th centuries in the area of Benares. Little is known about Kabir's life, but there is general agreement that he was a member of the Julaha community, a caste of weavers that had, at that time, recently converted to Islam. Different sources and religious groups believe that Kabir had different gurus. Some believe that his guru was the famous Swami Ramanand, others believe that his teacher was Sheikh Taqi. What's clear is that Kabir had a poetic voice all of his own, in which he vociferously criticized the ritual strictures and the logical inconsistencies of both Islam and Hinduism, and combined ideas from yoga, Advaita Vedanta, or non-dualism, and folk wisdom to express a vision of the Absolute or God as all-pervasive but beyond all description. Kabir's lyrics continue to be sung today in both religious and non-religious contexts. The pads that we're reading and listening to for this class session are sung by the famous ghazal singer Jagjit Singh and by the former teacher, singer, and recently political leader Prahlad Singh Tripadia. Let's begin reading Kabir's pad by taking a close look at the meter in which the lyric is composed. Looking at the first line of the pad, Rehna nahi des birana hai, you'll notice that it's considerably shorter than the other verses of the pad. This is a clue that it is probably a take or refrain that is sung before or after each verse of the lyric. If we count up the number of matras in the first line, Rehna nahi des birana hai, we'll find that it comes to a total of 17 matras. Now, most pads are not composed in a meter which has a refrain of 17 matras. Usually, or most often, it has 16 matras, and so we can make an educated guess that this refrain is supposed to be 16 matras long, and maybe it's just been changed or corrupted over time. Working on that assumption, let's look at the first line, or the first verse of the pad, Yah sansara kagad ki puriya, bunda pade ghul jana hai. So let's start counting off Yah sansara, so Yah, 2 matras, sansara, 4 matras, kagada, 4 matras, ki, 2 matras, and puriya, 4 matras. We'll find that that adds up to a combined total of 16. And because that is parallel to the number, or equal to the number of matras in the refrain or take, we can guess that after those first 16 matras of a line, there is a yati or kaisura, a pause, something like a comma in a sentence. Knowing this, we can break each line of the pad into 2 parts. Let's see how many matras there are in the second half of the line. Bunda pade ghul jana hai. If we count those out, we'll find that they come to 14 matras. Also, notice that at the end of the line, we have 3 guru, or heavy syllables, ja, na, hai. And this is the same throughout the pad, jana hai, te, kana, hai. So these are all clues that let us infer that this is a very particular type of meter used in pads, and it's called lavani, salty. The lavani chand is identified by having a 16 matra refrain and lines of 16 plus 14 matras ending in 3 guru or heavy syllables. And the lavani is a fairly popular type or popular form of meter for pad lyrics. And in terms of length, it comes in between the sara, which is 16 plus 12 matras, and the bira, which has lines of 16 plus 15 matras, which are also very popular chandas or meters for pad lyrics. Now, what does this pad mean? Let's begin with the take or refrain. Rehna nahi desa, birana hai. Rehna nahi. You might recognize this as a form of compulsion, just as in modern standard Hindi. Mujhe nahi rehna hai. Aapko nahi rehna hai. Kisi ko nahi rehna hai. One does not or cannot or should not or must not stay. Where? Desa. Desa is, of course, a tadbhava form of desha, a country, a land, and we'll take it as being in the locative, desh mein. So, is desh mein nahi rehna hai. One cannot or does not want to stay in this land. Why? Kyunki wo birana hai. Because it is birana. Birana is a synonym for paraya. Paraya meaning someone else's, not one's own. And so Kabir is saying that one does not want to stay in this country. Why? Because it is birana. It's not one's own. It's someone else's. And the meaning of that will become clearer as we look at the next verse. The next verse reads, Yah sansara kagad ki puriya, bunda pade ghul jana hai. You'll recall that each line of the pad can be broken into 2 parts consisting of 16 and 14 matras respectively. The first line breaks after puriya, that's where the yati or kaisura would be. And so we can make our work easier by dealing with each part of the line on its own. So let's start with the first. Yah sansara kagad ki puriya. Yah, this, sansara, world. Now, it's not just any world, but the phenomenal world, the world we perceive ourselves as living in. But this sansara is a world of illusions. Maya ka jal hai. It's a web of Maya. And it is such because nothing in this world is permanent. It appears permanent and stable, but everything disappears over time. And so Kabir sings that Ya sansara kagad ki puriya. This sansar, this phenomenal world, is a puriya, a wrapping, a small piece of something which you use to wrap samosas or kachoris or bhel puri, and which you still see all over India today. What type of puriya is it? It's a kagad ki puriya. It's a puriya made of paper. And it's interesting to note that kagaz, paper, was also pronounced kagad quite frequently in pre-colonial India because it comes from the Arabic kagad, and that last sound is pronounced somewhere between a duh and a za in Arabic, but is now pronounced more commonly as za, and so in contemporary Hindi, we pronounce it as kagaz. In any case, ya sansara kagad ki puriya. This phenomenal world, this sansara, is just a wrapping made of paper. Bunda perde ghul jana hai. Bund, a drop, as of water. Perde, subjunctive, if it falls. So if a drop of water falls, ghul jana hai. This verb refers back to the kagad ki puriya and to sansar. Ghul jana, to melt, to dissolve. And so, agar ek bund pade, to wo gal jata hai. So, this world is like a wrapping made of paper. If a drop of water falls on it, it dissolves. And so Kabir is, of course, gesturing here towards the ephemeral nature of this world in which we live, to the fact that it is not permanent despite its appearances as such. The second line begins, Yah sansar kanto ki bardi, and after bardi comes the yati. Yah sansar, this world, is a bardi. A bardi is a type of enclosure or wall. What type of bardi is this? Kanto ki, an enclosure made of kanta, of thorns. Now, if you've spent any time in rural India, you'll probably have noticed that many people, instead of putting up fences of wood or metal, construct barriers out of thorns or out of vines or out of branches from trees. And they use these to make enclosures in which to keep their farm animals or to keep other animals out of their fields. The second half of this line reads, Ulaja pulaja marijana hai. Ulaja pulaja, here we'll take this as an absolutive, getting entangled, getting caught up in. Marijana hai. You'll probably recognize this as mar jatna hai. One has to die, right? And so the line altogether reads, Yah sansar kanto ki bardi. This world is an enclosure made of thorns. Ulaja pulaja mare jana hai. One gets entangled and dies. It's a gruesome fate and really evokes the sense of getting caught up in all of the nasty illusions and illusions of the world and falling prey to them. The third line begins, Yah sansar jhard aur jhankar. Yah sansar, this world, jhard, a bush, or jhankar. A jhankar is the same as jankard, a bramble, a thicket, a really dense mass of plants. Aga lage bari jana hai. Ag is, of course, fire, lage, again subjunctive. If fire catches to it, bare jana hai. Bar is the same as bal, is as the same as jalna, to burn. So bari jana hai means jal jana hai. So yah sansar jhard aur jhankar. This phenomenal world is a bunch of brambles and thickets and bushes. Aag lage, bari jana hai. If a fire catches, it will all burn. Kabir ends the pad in the manner that he typically does, which is with his chop. Now, a chop is literally a seal or a stamp, but in the context of poetry, it means either the poet's name or a kind of signature line that she or he uses at the end of her or his compositions. Kabir sings, Kahat Kabir suno bhai sadhu. Kahata, you'll recognize this as an imperfected participle, says Kabira. Kabir says, Suno bhai sadhu. This is an imperative. Suno, listen. Bhai, brothers, sadho. Sadho is a evocative form of sadhu. Sadhu here doesn't necessarily mean a monk or an ascetic. It means people who are true, people who are honest, people who follow the right path. So listen, brothers. Kabir says, listen, brothers, and listen, good people. Satguru Naam Tikana Hai. Satguru is made of two words, Sat, true, right, and Guru. The Guru, as you know, is a teacher, but who is the Satguru? The Satguru is the true Guru, not just any teacher, but the one who leads you on the right path, the path to God. And in Kabir's aesthetics, Satguru is most often referring to God himself or God itself. So he says, Satguru Naam Tikana Hai. Satguru's name, the name of the true Guru, which for Kabir was usually Ram. Ram was not the name of the son of Dasharath and the brother of Lakshman who fought Ravan. Ram is the name of the essence, the Paramatma, the oversoul that pervades all living things and all of existence. So Satguru Naam, the name of the true Guru, of the Lord, which Kabir takes as Ram, Tikana Hai, is a place, but not just any place. It's a place where you can stay. It's a place where you can be still and safe. So now, looking at all the lines together, we can see the contrast. Kabir is singing over and over, Rehna nahi desa, berana hai. One doesn't want to and can't stay in this country because it's Birana. It's not one's own country. One belongs somewhere else. And he gives many reasons why this country is fleeting, ephemeral, is easily destroyed, and one cannot stay here. And he contrasts that in the last line with the name of God, which is a tikana, which is a place where one can stay, where one has permanence, a place and a thing that one can rely on.
महल में अजब शहर में आधारे हंसा भाई निर्गुण राजा पे